names of them for president.
Lyle Blakely.
Here.
Wes Jordan.
Here.
Lauren Stoffer. Here. Brent Kellogg.
Here.
Joe Coster.
Here. Would you please rise as we say our pledge of allegiance? Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, section 2 is the reorganization of the Oologah-Talala Board of Education and administration of the oath of offices. Up first is the administration of the oath of office for seat 5 board member.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome Wes Jordan as our seat 5, vacating Don Tice, or is filling the vacated seat that was vacated by Don Tice. So Mrs. Veneman will be the official person that will be administering the oath, but if you can go ahead and just read what you have in front of you, the oath of office and then the general oath for all public officials. We read both of those, and Ms. Veneman can sign that, and we can move on from there.
You can stand up and do that.
He doesn't need to.
Well, that's nice. Hey, I think you need to. We did.
Yeah, well, let's go on. I, Wes Jordan, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of a member of the Board of Education of the Oologah-Talala School District to the best of my abilities, and that I will faithfully discharge all of the duties pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States of Oklahoma. I, Wes Jordan, solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and that I will not knowingly receive, directly or indirectly, any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties as a board member of Oologah-Talala Public Schools to the best of my ability.
Thank you, sir. If you could sign that, date that, and then I'll have Ms. Veneman get that and finish that piece off for you, which makes it official that you can now proceed with the next 4 items.
Actually, she can keep that right. You can do that.
Yeah, she can.
All right.
Do that. So
Item B would be discussion, nomination, and vote for president of the Board of Education.
I nominate Brett Kellogg. I move nomination cease.
Yes, thank you. Throw me under the bus.
Quick.
Is there a second for that? Or is that his equivalent?
His
second?
a little bit second.
Okay. All right, is there discussion? Hearing none, vote please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I guess I vote myself. Okay. Do we do that now, David, or we come back and do all?
we'll come back in a moment.
Okay. All right. Item C, discussion, nomination, and vote for the Vice President of the Board of Education. I would nominate Joe Coster as Vice President of the Board of Education.
Move nomination cease.
Is there discussion? Vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Item C is approved. Item D is discussion, nomination, and vote for the clerk of the Board of Education.
Nominate Lyle Blakely.
Second.
Is there discussion? Vote please.
Can I abstain? Yes.
Yeah, it's weird when you vote yourself. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And item E, discussion, nomination, and vote for deputy clerk of the Board of Education.
Nominate Lauren. Second.
Discussion? Vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you have your oath of office in front of you. Put your name in both of those paragraphs. And what we'll do is we will start, we can start with Brent and kind of work our way down. One time we read both of those, when it's done, but we'll
Collect consent.
collect them.
And you sign that.
I, Brent Kellogg, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of President of the Board of Education of the Oologah-Talala School District to the best of my abilities. I will faithfully discharge all the duties pertaining to the said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States and Oklahoma. I, Brent Kellogg, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable things for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office other than compensation allowed by law. I further swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties as a board member of Oologah-Talala Public Schools to the best of my ability.
I, Joe Costa, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of Vice President of the Board of Education of the Oologah-Talala School District to be the best of my abilities, and that I will faithfully discharge all the duties pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and the laws of the United States of Oklahoma. I, Joe Costa, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the States of Oklahoma, and that I will not knowingly receive direct or indirectly any money or any valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of the active duties pertaining to my office, other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties as board member of Oologah-Talala Public Schools to the best of my ability.
Mr. Blake.
I, Lyle Blakely, hereby declare an oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of clerk of the Board of Education of the Oologah-Talala School District to the best of my ability, and I will faithfully discharge all of the duties pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States and Oklahoma. I, Lyle Blakely, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office, other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties as a board member of the Oologah-Talala Public Schools to the best of my ability.
I, Lauren Stoffer, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of Deputy Clerk of the Board of Education of the Oologah-Talala School District to the best of my abilities, and that I will faithfully discharge all the duties pertaining to said office and obey the Constitution and laws of the United States and Oklahoma. I, Lauren Stoffer, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office, other than the compensation allowed by law. I further swear that I will faithfully discharge my duties as a board member of Oologah-Talala Public Schools to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
We're going to go sign that upside down.
Make sure to do it.
All right, any non-officers of the board are required to bring dinner every month? All right, section 3, presentations. Item A is this month at Oologah-Talala Public Schools.
And just preface this by saying, like every month, this could have been like 3 times this long. So
Yeah.
there's a lot, like, who've not been here before, there are a lot of things that did not put in here. This is just what's happened between last board meeting and this board meeting. Left a lot off, so a lot of really good things happening.
Okay, now if I can make it work. let's come back and just measure the report. Let's get it recognized.
I didn't mean to hear there either. Let's go to item D, work, our principal's work.
Sure, we have some students here. Do you want to kind of introduce who's going to introduce our kids? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Love doing that.
yeah.
So, and I wasn't involved in these, the front and the back really, if you will, but the front row, obviously we have Coach of the Year in girls basketball, Coach Woodford. So first year, she hit the ground running. I had a girl in the program, and it was her best year of basketball since she's been here, so kudos to him. Obviously, we have Ashton Woodford, and we have Kaylee Siva, 2,000-point scorers. Those don't come around very often, and just to see how hard they work and how good teammates and people they are in the building, I definitely believe how you do one thing is how you do all things, and they prove that every day in the hall, so kudos to them very much. In the back row, Abigail Lacey, our very first state champion wrestler on the girls' side. Super amazing. She's also a freshman. Yeah.
More you.
More than that. Just a great young lady, battled through injury, had to run surgery, and was able to come back and find her way to the state title. Super fun. Kudos to obviously Coach Johnson for helping guide that. And again, she fits the mold of how you do one things, how you do all things, and I love that. I've been looking for the next Mr. Doss the last couple of weeks, and being able to brag and talk about our school. If you want to be great in something, I truly feel like you can be great at that at Oologah-Talala schools. Right. There are examples of that. Another example of that is Cooper Puckett. He is the school's 18th academic all-stater, which is a super huge thing. Over 600 kiddos qualified. They pick 100, and they kind of divide you by 4A, 5A. So you're talking 10-ish, 12 maybe. You have to have a 30 on your ACT that you can apply, and then it's like what helps you stand out. If you notice in one of the pictures there, he helps plan staying week. When I think about Cooper, obviously he's a great student, but I think about the type of person he is. He serves others. If you think about staying week the last 2 years, he's the one that kind of brought us that idea. That's $25,000 that he's helped raise to send 2 families on Make-A-Wish. That's what I love most about Cooper. I've got to coach Cooper before. He's just a great young man, as they all are here. So kudos to all of them. I want to point out too, like a lot of them, Cooper's a 14-year kid at our school. He's a pre-K. I know we're kind of the finish line of your public school education, and maybe the lower sometimes doesn't get to see that, but kudos to all the buildings for touching all of our kids and helping them be successful, because they really is. You don't become an academic all-stater starting your academic year, obviously. But that's a big thing. Okay. Just congrats to everyone. You're truly some of the best we have to offer.
Thank you. Coach Walker, did you want to say something to us? Sure. Any additional?
We were as fortunate to coach these girls this year. They both worked very, very hard. They were named team captains by their team prior to the season starting. I think that they did a good job representing our team, not just on the court, but didn't have any complaints like in the classroom. I didn't hear any behavioral issues about any of our girls, which was a nice thing. They both passed the 1,000 career point total this year. Kaylee did it despite missing probably 9 games, I think, 8 or 9 games, which was about 2/3 of about a third of our season or more. So it was nice because we kept winning games in the playoffs and advancing. So, we were not even as, Ashton's happened at the end of the regular season, I think, and then Kaylee's, and we weren't sure if it was going to happen. And then next thing I know, we're winning games and wasn't even really thinking about her hitting it, and then she got there. So it was bittersweet because it was on the night where we did not go to the state tournament, but it was also nice to hear when she hit it. The fans kind of erupted up there in the top of the gym, and I was, we kind of remember what was going on. She hit the milestone there, so it was nice. And then the school that we were at had those game balls aren't cheap, or $85 for those balls, and they're like, she gets to keep the game ball. And that's really cool. So it was a neat thing that the school that we were playing at did, and even though it was area tournament, it wasn't something they had to do. It was a nice gesture, but both girls have worked really hard. They represented our school really well. I'm proud of both of them, and it's nice that we get them both coming back another year. So very proud of them both.
How rare is that to hit that milestone?
Hit 1,000. It's becoming something that is, I mean, you average, if you figure you have to average probably 11 or 12 points a game at least and play a long amount of time, meaning, 25 games in a season, something like that. Or, like these two kind of got there in their junior year, that's the rare part of it. There's more and more people their senior year that are hitting it, but not a lot junior year. So getting there their junior year was a big deal, just a gesture of how hard that they've worked and the statistics they put up. So less and less happening junior year and for them to both.
Yeah, did we had one of our junior year the last decade?
I was going to say, so I'm going to be my 8th year. We've had some really phenomenal women's basketball players since I've been here. I'm going on to college. The other two we've had, so they make 4 that I'm aware of in my 8 years, did their senior year. So that's a big deal.
That's awesome. Congratulations, girls. You really must take over well. So, Coach Johnson, you right on your kiddo back there?
Abigail, Mr. Ho kind of mentioned, she had labrum surgery before season started, and so she was not supposed to get this season. She actually went through rehab a little bit quicker than they anticipated, and we found out like 4 days before the certification cutoff that she was going to get to wrestle. So we loaded her up and took her to Perry just so she could get a weigh-in, and ended up taking second at that tournament, came home with a broken nose, but also silver medal. Wrestled one more tournament after that before regionals, and she was one of 2 of our first regional champs that we've ever had for girls wrestling, she and Piper Morton. And then we ended up at the state tournament and pins her way through that as a freshman. And nobody gets to take credit for Abby except for Abby. She puts in so much work, does club wrestling in the off season. I mean, I don't know if you remember her as a football player, she's quite good there too. So she just works so hard. We're so incredibly proud of her, and to do this as a 14-year-old baby just makes me so happy. She's fierce. Like, don't mess with her on the mat.
The girl she's been in the finals was a returning state champ.
Yeah, so we lost a tear shed.
Thanks. Kendra, we'll take pictures
Yes,
with
please.
Heath, like do basketball.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, come on board.
Okay, let's do you first. Sorry.
Right here in the mountain.
You say.
Congratulations, girls. Good job.
Thank you. Good job, girls.
Mr. Bucket. Yes, sir.
Good, how are you?
Okay, ready? 1, 2. Gotcha.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Well,
Brain's not going to take you on.
No, I'm not going to.
Every step this way, just a little bit. Okay, ready? All right, 1, 2. Gotcha. Great. You guys stay there. Let's do one of all of 5 of you, just while you're there already.
Oh, good luck.
Like we're in. Okay, ready? 1, 5. Gotcha. All right.
Coach, thank you. It's funny how that baseball. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Kevin. I got a homework assignment for you.
Yes, sir.
Can you make an attempt to count how many state champions are in this graduating class?
Yep.
Because there's soccer, ag has a bunch.
Yeah.
Jazz band
Yeah.
has 2 part people here for the third.
I might steal that and put it in my.
Well, I was going to use it back to Laura. So, yeah, seriously, this has been an incredibly successful, maybe one of the most successful classes.
Yeah, I would say so. Including
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not done. FFA's not done. Soccer's not done. I mean, both boys and girls have a shot. So,
Yeah, for sure.
anyway, put that on your radar because I know you might use your graduation, but I don't use it back to Laura.
I'll get that too. That's awesome.
And then there were 2. They're sitting right beside me. Poor Dawson's just trapped.
I got the house. I'm gonna say he's pushing up.
Hey, what was the baseball score when we came over? 4-0 on South of Third.
We've only lost 1 district game.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird one last week, where thankfully the other team that we lost, so we're still in control around everything. Yeah, all those things were there.
Been a good year. All right, let's move. Can we go back to item C, our treasury report?
So yeah, treasury report, look at this page right here. So let's see, what we got? Started the month with a total, our main checking 1.8 million, savings 1.6. Again, that savings account, that's just a real low interest account. So we don't really keep very much money in there now. Our bond funds and then our OLAP, which are our investment accounts. So right now we have about 6.2 million sitting in our in March with 6.2 million sitting in our investment with a total of 8.8 million. Deposits total of 908,000 across the board. This was just money coming in from most of that state aid, and then spent 1.3, end of the month 8.4 million, which is down from March 2024. You can see it about $1.2 million. So money is down a little bit. We talked about that. We are on our 3-year plan. We spent a lot of time. Mr. Hoag's helping us out. Getting things pulled back to where we need to be. We'll finish this year not in a place that I want to finish this year financially going into the next year, but we have spent a lot of time. Caleb has done a great job putting together projection reports off of what we'll be spending as we go through next year. I think as of right now, we've got was that 350,000 for next year. What we spend for next year, which will put us back in a really good spot. So, and that's even taking into account some of the things that we know are going to increase as we go into next year. And that is Mr. Hotfeld doing an amazing job at his job and helping put together projections and all of that. We're meeting with some guys next week looking at some different options on our investment account. We're going to push another, with our state aid coming in, we're going to push another $1 million over into that for the next month to try to just get some investment money off that. We'll meet with these guys. They say that they can beat our rates that we have in our OLAP account, so we're going to look at them. What we may do is when we split some of that money out, put half in OLAP and then half in this other investment, just to see the piece of OLAP that we like is within 24 hours we can push money in and pull money out, right? So we can have 90% of our money sitting there drawing at a higher interest rate, and pull that back as soon as we know when payroll's coming to due or whatever. So anyway, we've
How often do they money in and out of that?
Oh, I'm trying to think. We moved a big chunk a couple of months ago. We'll move another chunk. Well, he pushed it today. He has to push it. We have to push it from one account to the other account, so that way because it's our transfer account.
Sure.
So that $1 million will move tomorrow, and then in May, right before we do payroll, we'll have to pull back $1 million for payroll. So because there'll be just some time lag in between our state aid comes in and.
I haven't followed the legislation piece on the 50% of your budget goes towards classroom education. Do you know if that piece is still working?
I haven't seen anything about it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're not in committee or what.
Yeah.
And our numbers, how are we in preparation? Let's say that does happen.
So we looked, Caleb and I looked whenever that kind of started heating up. We were, if I remember, we were like 51%.
So we're good.
Yeah, and we're cutting, some of the money we're cutting next year is out of operations side, like Brady, replacing the salary. So that tips that scale back pretty quick on that 1%. So we'll be fine.
Great. Any questions for me? All right, E, Assistant Superintendent's Report.
Mrs. Noble and I started this year, which is kind of a double-edged sword. It doesn't prolong professional development before the school year when typically teachers have their minds on getting in their classrooms, getting things set up, and it's hard to learn anything really heavy in those first few days before school starts because they're just focused on kids are coming in a few days, and that's the focus as it should be. So our professional development days, as you know, are spaced out more throughout the year. But we will be providing some professional development for teachers. Of course, they'll have all their state-required professional development they have to do. And then you'll remember from last year, we focused on really a site-based professional development plan, what each principal felt like was best for their teachers rather than just a one-size-fits-all approach. So as of now, we've done quite a bit of talking about this. The plan as of now is Dr. Sorrells will be coming back, who presented to the elementary buildings last year. They loved her. They were so happy that she came. She'll be coming to present some strategies for small groups at the lower elementary, some engagement strategies, just kind of a new way of thinking maybe about small groups. We also have quite a few new teachers from lower elementary, and some of who are not traditionally early childhood trained, we should say. So they might enjoy some of that, a little bit of a focus on how to run small groups in their classroom, which you can imagine is a little bit of a challenge when you've got 25-year-olds and you're trying to do more than one thing at once. So that will be the focus there. The upper elementary has asked for training from her on morning meetings, which is a technique for building community. Getting your day started off right. Seems like a small thing, but it isn't. It's kind of how you set the tone for the day, and that would become a consistent expectation across every classroom. Some of our upper elementary classrooms grades have really embodied that. 5th grade has really taken off with morning meeting this year, and they feel like, Mrs. Morrissey feels like that has been really beneficial for that group of kids. They start the day together, set a focus for the day, kind of get everybody's mind about ready for school, and off they go. So they're going to do a little bit of training about that. And then we're looking at some AI training for the high school and middle school. So as you can imagine, that's becoming more and more of a thing for students. And teachers are asking for techniques for how to, first of all, they want to know more about it. I think all of us could probably agree that we would all like to learn more about AI and how to use that in their classrooms in a way that's beneficial to the student and doesn't just become cheating, which happens, imagine that. And we want to, but it is a tool, right, for the future. Kids know how to use it. It's something that will be a part of their lives for probably ever. So there are some really cool ideas for how to use that as a teaching tool. So we're looking at a couple of different options for that right now to provide that for the middle school and the high school. So that's the plan for professional development as of today. It could change, but that's where we are.
Well, AI is like Google. When Google first came out, I know kids were using it to help with them, and
Yes.
teachers wasn't prepared for it. So AI, we just get a rein on it. So is that what we're trying to work on?
Yeah, like she kind of mentioned, how to embrace what we can, but ensure that our students are the ones doing the critical thinking. It is very useful, and there's like, I'm old, so seeing kids, one of our baseball kids was in my house, and he used ChatGPT to create a study guide for his college history class. I thought that was amazing, didn't even know that was possible. So how can we embrace what we can embrace, but also ensure that our students, like I mentioned, are the ones doing the critical thinking so that they're prepared for life after high school?
It's just like anything else. If we try to say, we're not going to use this, you're not allowed to use it, they will still use it. And it can be a tool for us. We can make education better, but we have to understand it a little bit.
Well, I've said let's embrace it all along.
Yeah.
Because we don't want our kids behind. Because it is happening in real time, marketplace, and you don't want our kids. What's ChatGPT? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's an incredible research tool. I'm nervous about it.
Yes.
But I'm also really excited about what AI brings to the table.
You hit on it too, like if you look at engineering,
Yes.
they're saying in the near future, upwards of over 50% of the engineering jobs will be replaced by AI. So, like you said, preparing our kids for that is important.
And we do have quite a few teachers who are already using it to some extent. So this will be good, I think, to just give them some like tested strategies. Like here's some things that people have used it for in the classroom. It's worked. Here's some ideas. So
I can see a elective a couple of years from now that's just on AI implementation and using it. And I'd like to be in front of that.
yeah.
I really would like for people to look at Oologah and go, okay, you guys are out there. I mean, how'd you do that? So.
Federal programs, nothing really huge to report. We're doing claims, money's coming in, so that's good. We were a little worried about that. Teaching and learning, we have chosen ELA curriculum. So that's been a long process, as you know. We started that in October. So pre-K did not get a curriculum last year when we adopted for math because there wasn't a math-only curriculum for pre-K. This year we are purchasing them a curriculum. It's called World of Wonders, and it is a comprehensive curriculum. So it's not just ELA. It's ELA, it's math. There's a little science in there. There's a lot of social skills, and that, as you can imagine, for a pre-K curriculum. So we're really excited. They're really excited about that. That was their choice. The upper, and the high school and the lower have all chosen HMH as their publisher. So they're getting different things, different like actual products in their adoption, but that's the company that they've all chosen to go with. And then middle school chose McGraw-Hill, so they'll be using a different curriculum, which is fine. It'll match up just the same. We'll have to do a little bit of vertical alignment, but that's okay. We'll do that anyway. And then they will be using those. So that's what they think.
Questions? All right. Thank you, Kendra. How about
We're good.
those are magic words?
Yes.
All right. Item G, superintendent's report.
Let's start with the, some good stuff here. That's all good stuff. So we had our bond committee meeting, pass these out real quick. Our architect brought this, so everything right now for our architect is kind of preliminary, right? So because it's just, we're trying to figure out some budget stuff, we're trying to figure out what projects we're going to do. And you can see kind of there on the map, the kind of the different areas that we're looking at kind of doing work in. Kind of the two biggest pieces is up at the top are the ones and the reds. That's at the high school. Of course, the big piece of what we're looking at is doing kind of a basic remodel of most of the auditorium, the gym, and the library media center. And then this is kind of a rendering of what they're kind of projecting the outside to look like. Obviously, this is something they just kind of put together just kind of for show. It can have, tweaks and modifications. But some of the pieces, I think one of the big pieces that I like is what they're planning on doing pulls the look of our campus together all around campus. So if you'll notice, the brick even it has the two white stripes right there, which is the way the middle school and the lower elementary is done. So that pulls that over to the high school. You notice even the slant, so adding the piece, I can zoom that in, kind of the entryway area right there at the high school, that kind of, with the slanted roof, it pulls in that soft tooth look. Just having some elements like that would be seen all the way around campus, just for the aesthetic appeal, right? So functionality, I'm not sure it does a whole lot, but just for the kind of the general look, this is kind of what they're going for, and it would tie into the middle school, I think, perfectly, and the athletic facility that we're looking at, bring that in. There's a picture here. Which one it is? Oh yeah, there's it. Yeah, so this is kind of what they're proposing kind of on the backside. And again, we're talking just external looks right now. So this is the where the current wrestling room is. So what they're proposing is basically to bulldoze that end of the building and then create a middle school basketball gym that would have a safe room in it. So that safe room would then be utilized primarily by the middle school, which there is still some work that would have to, as far as the kids getting from the middle school to there. But it also puts another safe room right in the middle of our campus. If we have an athletic something going on, we have access to that safe room. And that does give us, by adding this middle school gym, our middle school kids then never go to the upper elementary. So it totally separates those two buildings out. So you don't have 8th graders and 2nd graders. It extends, we lose a little bit of the parking lot that there. And then adding on to the south side of the weight room, pushes over into that parking lot. And we think that that kind of gives us the space that we would need for everything that we would want. And all of that falling under the And again, all of this is preliminary, all of this is kind of concept, ideas, looking at square footage. I've met with Mr. Johnson, Coach Johnson, but met with the boys wrestling coaches about what that looks like for that wrestling facility. Kind of their ideas and thoughts on that, to kind of bring them into that. And obviously, as we get deeper into the design aspect of this, then we'll talk more about that. I like the way that it looks. I like the way that it freshens up the whole campus. It pulls everything together. You pull on campus and everything looks, I think it makes everything look purposeful, and not that it was built over a 40-year span.
Right, it looks like something actually built at the same time.
Decade. So it kind of pulls it together. I don't love the walkway across there. Again, these are just concepts and thoughts and ideas that they've put together for us. So that way we can start the conversation and give us some places.
So the tunnel.
No tunnel, huh? We tried, but I couldn't get that. I just wanted to door out the back of my office and I can't get that. So that's, any questions about that one? We've had some questions. Is there any clarification? We've presented to them kind of what, and again, I gave them like, here's my guessing at budgets, of what we want to spend on stuff. And then of course, then we can get that all lined out, like, oh, okay, this is cool, get it to them, and then like 5 emails later, like, oh yeah, you did put this on there, this on there, this on there, this on there, so we'll have to go back and mess with that. Yeah, it is.
Are we still, I missed the last bond meeting, but are we still talking about pickup and drop off?
We are, and one of the pieces that we talked about is looking at, I don't have a, yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
So looking at kind of the space that we have kind of around, as the drop-off area goes around the high school, is looking at redoing some of the traffic, redoing some of the traffic kind of over around the tennis courts and some of the parking over there. So basically just creating better lanes to put people so they can get around the high school.
Love it.
So the back part back here, I don't think we really have too many problems. We should also have people are in and out.
Not since we moved second grade, it's pretty calm down.
Yeah. So now, of course, the problem then is kind of like a restaurant at the high school.
Yeah, this is the law.
Yeah.
I think the south side of the athletic facility is a good start. We can just continue that north. If we had
Keep
money,
bulldozing.
if we had money, let's continue north on that building and do that.
So the idea on that piece of it, so the rest of it, this end would be a complete tear down. The hallway that goes down the middle where the football locker rooms and the wrestling room and then the softball, all of that would completely, I would imagine would just get gutted and then redone. So we're looking at putting in like, coaches' offices, locker rooms for baseball, softball, maybe soccer. All of that space would just be reutilized and would be I would suspect it gets a freshening, maybe repainted or something at least. So.
And that includes extending that weight room, like that building, not necessarily weight room, but that building.
Yeah, so you can see right there on that picture, so you can see the white right under the roof coming out this way. That is that one area.
Oh, okay, so it comes this way.
This way, into the parking lot.
Yeah. That's a big part of the parking lot.
That's why I was like, again, I just, the way the architects see space, because I was like, you can't do that, there's a parking lot there. We just take away part of the parking lot.
It's 5 spots.
Right, so he said by the time we get done, he said you won't lose any parking spots. He said we'll just reconfigure it.
Yeah, because they're taking out that little garden area in the middle too that takes parking, right?
Sure, that tree special to somebody that will.
Yeah, I think it was for the space shuttle that exploded at some point in time, like.
a challenge.
A lot, yes, that's it, but,
Is it back there?
yeah, we could probably do one.
I've not ever heard that.
I think they used to actually call it Challenger Farmers.
Do you have a thing with Palmer or you don't? I can't help you.
More than that?
People will complain about it until they see the finished product.
Yes, they'll love it.
People are getting complained about what you do, like I'm saying, you're changing.
Okay, so that's it. Any questions on bond issue stuff? We're working at, I'm open to any ideas, thoughts, suggestions.
What's your timeline of elections?
October,
Okay, let me do that one.
that's the goal and the plan.
So a lot of that will be really pick up from July, kind of the PR.
Yeah, so we'll do probably July, August, September. We'll do 3 months out, give or take. I know, but we were talking, I think once school fires back up, that'll be perfect because it puts us about 2 months out. We can just add all the back to school stuff, at all the first ball games, all of that we can have. And Trier they'll do big poster boards and stuff like this, these kind of pictures, concepts, and that kind of stuff.
Be cool to see them back to school.
Yeah. Which is why we won't power wash anything outside. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it's like.
Nothing gets cleaned all the time.
Anyway,
Sweep the call.
we passed this bond issue, this will all. So accreditation, we had our accreditation audit. We had 2 little hiccups. We've had perfect audits. We do have a new auditor, and with that, he's a great guy. He's helped us out as far as we can call him and ask questions. But each auditor looks for things that are different. And so we've now learned a couple things. So we will have 2 little dings on our accreditation audit. We had a tornado drill that was, our tornado drills have to be done in September and then March, is that right, on the second one? And then I think our September one was done like October 2nd or 3rd, so it was a couple of days late, so we'll get a ding on that, we can't go back and fix it. And then our alt-ed plan apparently is due, now we know, June 30th. We submitted it like July 2nd. And so he said we will get a ding on both of those things. So it's not an issue unless we continue to make those mistakes, which we won't. Now we know, and moving forward, we'll have it cleaned up. So anyway, we'll just giving you a heads up on that. We won't have to submit anything or do anything. That's really, it annoys me that we get dinged on that kind of stuff, but it's what it is, right? We know the rules, we need to follow them. So anyway, it'll be fine. We'll get that cleaned up. Last piece, child nutrition options. So we met with our child nutrition folks, which I think they're doing a great job. They've worked really hard. Wanted to kind of float this out there. Monica and Laura, who are kind of our top 2 child nutrition people, are asking about, do we bring child nutrition back under us as opposed to going to a third party? To be honest, I don't care. Care less. I think we would have the same people running it. We asked them if there was any reason that they felt like that would be a good idea. They think that we could probably do a better product, and we don't have the third-party people that they have to make money also, right? So it would be, I think SFE makes about $40,000 a year, which really isn't a lot right now. No, was it a year? Yeah, it was about $40,000 a year, maybe 50.
I think it's a little more.
Yeah, somewhere in there a year. That obviously, if we didn't have a third-party group, we could pull that money back into our cafeteria to maybe create a better product. Having a large group, it does. I don't know, maybe there's some comfort there, and that if something goes wrong, we don't have to deal with it. It's SFE's problem. Didn't know if you guys had any thoughts on it. Like I said, we met with them, talked to them several times. Laura is amazing. She has gone above and beyond on everything.
So I guess the biggest thing I have is the $40,000, is it worth saving that money or is it worth giving them the headache for you all?
To be honest, I don't think that it would I don't feel like it would be much of a headache for us. Laura does a phenomenal job of running the kitchen. We didn't really have too much of a headache, even with Amy running it. We had some issues, but we've gotten this cleaned up and we've gotten this fixed. Those ladies would deal with any problems that come in.
So does that affect the food service or the food quality or anything like that? How does that affect the food quality and the service that we're going to get?
So what Laura is saying is that basically she can take that money and put it back into buying better quality food. So what we're running off of, kind of what we talked about, is you have your price per plate, right? So every plate, let's say we get either from, your kid paid $2 or we get reimbursed from the federal government $2. We get $2 in from that plate. So, she's on a budget of like $1.35 per plate. So she's got to make, and I'm just kind of making up numbers, right? So she's got to make a plate that your kid's going to get. She has $1.35 to spend on that plate. So she's going to put on, chicken strips and French fries and some carrots or whatever. So she's saying that she could take that $40,000, $50,000 that's going out to this third party group, and now instead of having $1.35 per plate, she's got $1.45 per plate. And so now she can either get better quality food that's going to be more appetizing for your kid.
Okay, but Lyle made a comment last time we brought these people in, are we going to be able to use our local vendors and stuff like that better with us doing it than them doing it? I mean, that's just a big question when we
And there's a couple of vendors that have said something to me about them being cut out. Now they still have to deliver, but they're all working corporate.
Yeah, so everything comes back to us doing our bids, and but we have more freedom in who we want to get bids from. We don't have to go through.
If I recall right, the other thing, the bigger argument that was made to change was the fact that we were, I guess for lack of a better word, throwing away food. We wasn't proper. With the company, if we served 1,040 meals or whatever, that's what we paid for.
Yes.
It wasn't our responsibility to worry about how much food was left over.
Sure.
I mean, that was one of the selling points supposedly to that. So actually Laura wasn't in charge of that at that time. So do you feel confident that she could eliminate that problem?
Yeah, so the processes that they have in place now, there's nothing we could continue doing the exact same thing we're doing, right? So, and Laura is the one that makes sure that those happen, right? So she, so however it is that they're doing the things that they're doing, they would just keep kind of doing the same thing. We would just kind of cut out the middleman.
Is there a software they provide to us?
There is, but we pulled Dana in on that, and we've already looked. So I had a couple of those software vendors that come across my desk. I passed them on, so they were kind of digging into that to kind of see
This is not $40,000 expense.
to see what's available and what it would cost and those kind of things. Another thing I think she talked about is some of the reporting that she has to do for SFE. Like she has to put in the same information that we would put in our system one time. She has to put it in, literally she said like 8 times, right? Because there's 8 different people. And so her time is just kind of sucked up, which Laura's technically not our employee right now. Right? So it's not really my problem. But if she comes back on, that frees up some other time too.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming we have federal and state reporting on food service stuff, right? Does SFE do that or we?
So we do that. That's what Monica does. Monica's our counterpart to Laura, kind of as a checks and balance piece on that.
So I feel like these two are doing a good job of running that, which is why you have the confidence to bring it back in.
Yes.
Lose one of those pieces, which feels like sometimes food services is a revolving, just a lot of hiring there. I mean, that is that safety net of, SFE, just next person here, if I don't like them,
Right.
send somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So how many of the employees, because they took on some of our employees,
Yes.
but I'm talking the cooks, the ones that do the work.
We have one cook.
We have one that's ours.
Yeah, we have one cook that's ours, and the rest are SFE employees, which we could We have I mean, I guess we could. I don't think they do a non-compete that we could probably.
I thought we had a non-compete whenever we switched over to them.
Not with water. So the only person that we would have non-compete with would be the cooks, but I don't think that they would be their cooks. So the other people are already ours. Laura doesn't have a non-compete, so we could get her back. And then I don't know about the other cooks.
I'm sure they're local people.
Right.
That'd probably be a priority for me, especially if they're on the job. Do we know their salary?
No, but which we have made, that's the right word, we're not losing money on child nutrition, right? And SFE is making money on child nutrition. So whatever their salary is, we bring those people back under with the same salary, and it would still be.
So they're going to take a pay cut to come to us.
Right.
Yeah,
We raised our pay scale to match theirs for the cook that we have, so it would be equal to what they're.
And again, I really don't have any strong feelings either way. I didn't know. That's kind of.
It served as a purpose at the time. It's kind of a necessary transition for us, but I also feel like $40,000 a lot of money.
It is, and when you look at the number of students that are eating, I think that the positive thing about Flora and Monica, though, is that they both worked here so long, like they know what our kids want to eat. They know what they will eat, they know what they won't eat, and they can write a menu that matches that, rather than here are the 5 things you have to choose from for this week, and some of that stuff our kids are not going to eat. So numbers are down, kids aren't eating. It's like battle the way around. So
If that is a reality, I was going to ask, are we getting complaints on food quality, or is that?
not like we were, but there are random things. Like for instance, this is just one example. One day, their green vegetable was a whole green onion, like literally a whole green onion on their tray. Like, no kid is going to eat a green onion, and that was their vegetable. They're not going to eat that, right? So they know that. They know that they can set that out with some green beans or something. You know that kids might eat. Some kids might eat, and Laura knows. I mean, she can talk about these kids and what they like and what they don't like, and because she's been here, I don't remember exactly how 10 years or something.
What do you need from us?
I don't know if you guys have a strong opinion either way. If you don't, then what I'll do is I'm going to go over it.
I'm confused.
Okay.
So right now, we're not paying cooks, correct? We're only paying one cook.
From us.
From us.
Yes.
But if we bring it back, we've got to pay them cooks.
Yes.
So that $40,000 we saved over, we saving $40,000 to bring those cooks back, and we got to pay them. Because we're not paying them now,
So as it is, we're paying SFE. SFE is paying them.
So we'll just take it.
So instead of it going through SFE and they're getting their cut,
We lose the administrative cost of, we're going to get an administrative cost of FNC.
All right, I'm in.
I know the vibe I get, and as an outsider, was pretty negative early on. Now it has gotten better. Every now and then I'll take something, but we don't govern over that because not everybody knows the dollars and cents too. I'm not.
For me, I don't want a headache for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I feel like food services has smoothed out a lot. And I think since both of those key leaders are staying, I feel like it's good for the district. I just don't want headaches for principals. I don't want headaches for you guys. I don't want cafeteria food, so it's not great food, but I want good food for our kids. You know what I'm saying? And I do agree. I think our people probably have a better idea of what our kids are going to. I mean, they're probably they buy onions for us and 7 other districts around us that they're doing, so they're able to get a bulk rate.
And Laura was doing, I would say, a lot of the food ordering before the transition. So she has experience. Yes, she was helping, let's just say, with that to a pretty big extent. So she has a lot of experience in that realm too, as far as vendors and ordering and quantity and that kind of thing.
What do most schools around here do?
Claremore was.
They work for food service. They went
They
back
switched back.
this year.
I don't know about Collinsville. You guys know? I don't think they have food services.
Since we started SFE, they was eligible because I called my friend down there and they're called they quit. And I was in Perry. Was it Perry? What was the other? The references they give. to it.
So if no one has a strong feeling, what I'll do, let us keep exploring. We'll kind of head down a path, and we'll go apples to apples on everything. Apples to apples on everything. And kind of make a little onions for sure.
As long as it's not green.
Yeah. And kind of do a comparison. We'll kind of do it on that.
It's more like a hors d'oeuvre.
I think your salad.
Yeah.
Mention approval of fifth graders, I think.
No, they were sneaking on too.
Then use it for swords.
On the playground.
Onions and garlic.
Okay, good. That's all I got.
Okay. Let's move to section 4 of the consent agenda. These items may be approved by one board motion unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. Included in our consent agenda, item A, discussion and consideration for approval of minutes of the Oologah-Talala Public School Board of Education special meeting on March 10th, 2025. Item B, discussion and consideration for approval of the following warrants and encumbrances. General fund encumbrances 405 to 431. General fund warrants 2771 through 2147. Building fund encumbrances 87 to 100. Building fund warrants 289 through 342. And capital improvement warrants 135, 1 through 2. Item C is discussion and consideration of approved financial reports, including general fund, building bond funds, and activity funds. Item D is discussion and consideration for approval of the following activity fund transfers, 97 through 106. Item E is discussion and consideration for the approval of the following fundraiser requests. Activity fund fundraiser 230 and 231, and Booster Club fundraiser number 87. Dr. Wilkins, any comments?
Should look through to see if there's anything.
How often is Caleb, how often do our outside vendors, such as our auditors, how often are they? I mean, he's on the phone with them a lot.
Yeah.
Are they seeing our stuff on a monthly or?
No, so they just did an interim audit for this fiscal year. So basically what they'll do is they'll come in, I don't know, it's been a month ago, or a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And they'll look at stuff that we did in the fall, they'll pull purchase orders, they'll go through our report stuff and whatever. So kind of make sure there aren't any issues up to now. And there were some things that we found, like, oh, man, we need to do this differently, we need this better. Part of that is just Caleb being new and sure just
I guess that's my point, is there are other eyes, not that I don't trust you guys, but I'm saying there's a lot of moving parts here.
Yes.
And so he utilizes it as a resource.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because he has that.
Yeah, so we had some questions today come up, and I was like, hey, why don't you call our auditor and see what they suggest we do on this? And he's on the phone with them, other CFO.
But we're not doing a reconciliation every month through an outside firm, are we? We do that in-house.
Yes. Yeah, so it's the balance every month, and yeah, I'll reconcile every month.
I have a question, and I've been going to ask it several times and I forget. What's the difference between an activity fund fundraiser and a booster club fundraiser? I think I know what it is.
So activity fund is, booster clubs function outside of the activity fund. Activity fund is.
They have a separate bank account, activity fund is within the school.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought.
But any fundraiser that's done through our name is supposed to be approved through the board. It has.
That's the deal we fill out, the booster club's fill out at the beginning of the deal.
All right, any other, well, I'm entertain a motion on section 4 of the consent agenda.
Move to approve section 4 of the consent agenda, items A through E.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Consent agenda has been approved. Administrative. Item A. Recommendation, consideration, action on approving the Oologah-Talala Public Schools application for temporary appropriations for 2025-2026.
Is there any significance to the being upside down?
Are we going to present financial hints?
The code?
I feel like probably the person that ran that copy probably.
Is it a stressful?
Yes, it was. It was. In fact, it was on Friday and it was stressful. No, so our temporary appropriation you guys will remember, this is the 15.7, or the 15.755,604. What that will do, that goes in, that allows us to begin the fiscal year on July 1. And so we will operate with that number as our appropriated, which means that that's all we can spend amount until we get our actual appropriations in. So this allows us to start our next fiscal year by approving this temporary appropriation. Does that make sense?
We're just kind of setting that number and then we'll figure out the pieces later, right?
Yeah, so our auditors set that based off of our revenue and expenditures from this year. And then what they'll do is because they give us this number, and then they will approve that, and they will give us the actual appropriated amounts after July, once we finish out this fiscal year, which will lead us into another conversation here.
I would entertain action on administrative item A.
Move to approve item A, Oologah-Talala Public Schools' application for temporary appropriation.
Second.
It's too long, we took too long.
The silence was.
I didn't look at you.
All right, any further discussion? Do you get your first and second one?
Yes, I got it.
All right, hearing my vote, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Item A is approved. Item B, recommendation, consideration, action on approving a contract with Chatterbox Speech Therapy LLC for 2025-2026 school year.
So I want to comment on that, Chatterbox, and then on E, which is Melissa Holmes, which I can have the same discussion with you there. So we have two, is that correct? Two SLPs on staff now.
Yes.
And we're losing both of them, as we'll see that under the personnel issue later. And so this section is a great job of putting together some contracts with some other groups that we think will actually save us quite a bit of money going into this next fiscal year. So excited about that. We'll have basically two full-time contracted SLPs that we feel like will take care of our needs for our students as we go through next year. So recommendation that we approve contract with Chatterbox. So then I like the name Chatterbox.
Entertain action on item B.
Motion for recommendation, consideration, and action on approving the contract with Chatterbox Speech Therapy LLC for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
Any further discussion? Vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Item B is approved. Item C is recommendation, consideration, and action on approval of revised appropriation as stated in Form SA and I 307.
Okay, so this kind of tags on to what we just talked about a bit ago with our appropriations. So if you look on that page, it says SA and I 307. Our temporary appropriations that come in, we have our actual appropriations, and what's happened is that we had some prior year, you can see the different tax numbers right there that come in above what was projected to the tune of about $672,000. And if you guys will remember, we had moved some salaries from building fund into general fund, which was about $200,000. So what has happened is we've ended up, we're projecting that we're ending up going over our appropriated amount, which is against the law. So since we've had other revenue come in, what we do is you submit this Form 307. Again, okay, we work with our auditors and with the county clerk on this document, that they will increase our appropriated amount for the remainder of this year, which keeps us compliant with all laws and regulations. So that's what this form is. I don't like doing these personally, or it's something you have to do though. It's something that we're going to have to do this year again. until we get the way out.
So Caleb's not going to jail.
Yep, need to retrace.
Is that why you have to just call us?
Yes.
For them?
Board has to approve it, and then it has to go, it'll go to the county clerk, they will file it, which we get.
We don't approve it.
If you don't, then we have problems.
Then Caleb is jail.
That's not how it works, man.
I will entertain action on item C. For the love of God. You can do this.
Superintendent's recommendations that we approve Form SAI 307. That's recommendation.
Move a motion for item C, recommendation, consideration, and action on approval of past appropriations as stated on Form SAI number 7.
So technically, you would just say that I move that we approve.
Oh,
So it's-
yeah, even shorter.
Yeah, I move that we approve the
I
revised.
move that we approve the revised.
Second.
Board would have known that. But she won't make a motion.
Try to learn.
All right, further discussion? Vote, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a question.
Okay.
Okay, after we did Chatterbox, it's not on the agenda, but we have, and you mentioned her name, you mentioned the name, Melissa E. She's had a separate contract, is it later?
Yeah, it's out of order.
So it's out of order, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha, sorry.
No, you're good. All right, item D is recommendation, consideration, and action on approving a MOU with Three Oaks Mental Health Services, Inc. for 2025-2026.
I apologize for this being on board. Creox, we've used Creox right for a while.
This year, yeah, they came back.
So it's, re-upping their contract a little bit, and they've done a good job for us. I don't have any issues. Recommend that we approve the MOU for Creox for next year.
Move to approve item D and MOU with Creox Mental Health Services for the 2025-2026 school year.
Discussion? Vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item E is recommendation, discussion, and action on approving the contract with Melissa Holmes for consulting services for the 2025-2026 school year.
Recommendation is to approve contract with Melissa Holmes for next school year, consulting services.
I move that we approve the contract with Melissa Holmes for SLP services for 2025-2026 school year.
Did it? She made a motion.
Second.
It's an honor to get the second time. Discussion indeed. Dr. Wilson, do you want to, anything you want to add to this? I know you kind of talked about her earlier, but.
No, I think they're going to do a great job again. Ms. Hutchinson's done a great job of trying to get them lined up and get these contracts in place.
Vote please. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Item F, recommendation, consideration, action on approving a contract with Syllages said, for accounting software for 2025-2026 school year.
Yeah, so we'll have two contracts here with Sylogist. One is for our accounting software, the other is for the student information system. I want to give Deanna some credit so what she has done is she has dug into Sylogist and come to find out there's a bunch of little pieces of Sylogist that we haven't been using. And in fact, we've paid other vendors for the same product. And so we are able to go through and start eliminating some of these other little products, which then just makes that whole system better. Jen has done a ton of work with our personnel side that's going to make, I think, everybody's life better in this office. just cleaning up years and years and years of bad data that Cindy has had to work around, and she just doesn't have the time to sit down and do it, because literally days and days and days that Dana has gone through and just, I mean, literally like line by line on every employee for years of just cleaning that up. So anyway, so we spend a lot of money on these two softwares, but what we're seeing now is that they're way more robust than what we thought, and therefore it's actually saving us some money in some other areas. So,
Do they offer a conference workshop?
they do, and so we actually, Leslie and Kayla had gone to a training this past week, and there was a representative there. She got a ton of information, even just in this short amount of time, a bunch of information. I didn't know I did that. I didn't know I did that. And so what I told Leslie is then get with Sylogist and find out when some of their big workshops are, where they have some like multi-days, where they can go in. And what they'll do is on site, and basically you can either bring in your data, or they'll have some kind of live data that you can actually work your way through some things. So yes, they do have training, and we're looking to sit down.
It might even be good for Dana to go to, just to have an IT. We spend big money on this is a client management software. Right. This is what we do to manage our kids, to manage our food and everything. And I feel like we're paying for a Lexus, driving it like a bicycle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just think the more people that know how to use it, I think it will make their jobs easier. So.
Agreed. And Dana has spent, I know she's spent just a ton of time on the phone with them and working through that. We'll get as much training.
We send our people to workshops to how to use it. So. Okay, I would entertain action on item F.
I move that we approve the contract facilities A for accounting software for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
Discussion? Vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Item F is approved. Item G is recommendation, consideration, action on approving a contract with Sylogist Ed for student information software for the 2025-2026 school year.
Recommendation we approve. This is the student information side of the same software.
I move that we approve the contract facilities A for the student information software for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
Discussion? Vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Item G is approved. Item H, for discussion regarding document titled contract for the conveyance of real estate regarding the property previously known as East Campus.
So a few of you were here 3 years ago when we had this conversation. What you have in your booklet is the contract that was used for us to sign over basically what's known as East Campus. I don't remember how many acres it is, a few acres over there. 2 different plots of land, signed that over to the city of Oologah. There was a group that was wanting to do some work on that, to kind of turn that into a youth facility. And the contract states that they would have a structure, if I remember correctly, in place within a 3-year time. So basically they have 3 years to develop that property into something that's usable for students. As of about 7:30 this morning, there was nothing has been done on it. This is up to the rest of the will of the board on what we're going to do. We have some options. Obviously, I'm with our attorney as far as where any legal aspects that we need to do, we can go through RFL for that. I can put it as an agenda item a month down the road. We can talk about it and have some action on it. So our options would be that we redo this contract and continue to give that property to the city of the town of Oologah. We can take that property back and put it for sale.
Okay, I guess I looked through this and I've yet to find the time.
Power of termination.
Okay.
Says that they will within 3 years from the date. Convene all the rubber sheet facility. What would you do with the property?
if we could go back, we would sell it. We have no use for it.
Similar to an insurance liability and then a maintenance.
Yeah, to be honest, if it was on, to be really honest, if it was on this side of the tracks, I'd be inclined to keep it just because. Like we talked about, just some random stuff about about having like an alternate site for bus drop-off pickup, right? So if you're a parent and you're drop off your kids, instead of dropping them here on campus, having an alternate site that you drop them off and you have buses that shuttle, some stuff like that. Or if we do experience growth and we need to add. With it being on the other side of the tracks, the thought of shuttling kids back and forth, that makes me very nervous.
Not as many trains with that shuttle bus.
Yeah, for sure. And it would just sit for the next, 5-10 years, possibly. So for us, I think what we had discussed at the time, we had planned on just putting it up for sale on the board at that time. Of course, that was 3 years ago. Our plan was to sell it. We were approached by the city, and so we decided we had it surveyed, and had it appraised, and all the stuff. And the city kind of wanted to try to do something with it, and so that's why we had decided.
It sounds on me, I probably should have reached out. Have you had any conversation, or has any board member had any conversation with the town, with George, Peter's mayor, of their status or where they're at?
Well, this is prior to my time, and that's why, my next question was, who's on the town board now that was then?
Is George, is
I don't know.
Carol's still on board?
Oh, yeah.
But there was a group.
Is it Marshall?
Remember any of that? There was a
It's
group.
the Black Dog or the Black Powder or something like that. They was going to do baseball. Baseball thing.
Hitting facility or
Yeah.
something.
They were kind of building, they were building.
Yeah, I think that fell through because they were trying to do a co-op with the county and the city, and then this group, but for whatever reason it fell through.
What is the new athletic building that they keep tagging?
We're doing a Facebook post for that.
Yeah.
Trying to raise money for an athletic building.
Where's it gonna go?
That's what I'm looking.
Yeah, somebody just spun it back up and reacted on Facebook. Wonder if it's for that.
Probably saw that for 3 years is up and said, oh, crap, we got to do something now.
We need to see that date in mind. So it just last month.
I'm sorry.
Was that last month?
Yeah, I think it was middle of March.
7th day of March.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'd recommend someone have a talk with the town, and I think I would go ahead and do the termination of this and start moving. I wouldn't extend this one.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do like that idea.
Whatever the lawyers need to do to terminate it. I mean, we'll probably have to file something, I'm sure.
I'll dig into that. We'll make some contacts. We'll kind of see if they have anything set in stone. If they have no intention of developing, if the city has no intention of developing that, then I'll bring that back as an action item to the board. We can look at that. Otherwise, let me get some information from our attorneys and then from the city and come back. I want to be careful that we don't, that the board doesn't make a decision here without this being an action item.
No, I'm not saying
That's what I'm saying.
But this expired in March.
Yes.
And so we are in April.
Right, so it states that we have the option to repossess the property.
I'm also not in business.
So what?
Pissing off
What
community partners. So, but,
That's what I am, but.
well,
There's no action.
it's just a board discussion.
Okay.
So,
So let me get some more information from the city. What were we saying?
Well, my concern phase is we have kids practicing baseball there, mine being one of them. If they get hurt, it comes back on us now. Because this is
As of right now, it does not, because we have not terminated.
But it-
Do we, that was
That's
my
not
question,
terminate.
do we have to take action to terminate, or do we not?
So it would have to be a board action too. So it says that the school district may re-enter and repossess the property terminating the town's ownership, which we have not done.
So this just runs forever until you terminate.
We have the option of doing that.
It doesn't terminate, it didn't terminate on March
March
7th.
7th.
Correct.
Okay. Concern problem.
That
Yeah, I will
would be a
run it
concern that I would have
back. I'll run it back to our attorney, make sure.
I mean, that's
For
just.
sure.
as a liability issue, yeah.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons that we want to get kind of off our back.
So can they make the, I mean, it just says that they open and operate a multi-purpose youth athletic facility. Can they make the argument that they're doing that?
But that, it says somewhere there, they made that structure in there, or starting in a structure.
An added structure.
They have not even started.
I mean, have you talked to David about this?
To
John, sorry, John, the attorney.
No, I kind of want to get you guys' take on it.
Well, I think maybe there could be, need to be 2 or 3 items. I mean, 1, terminate, 2, possibility of another one, talks with, so I think that would probably need to be 2 or 3 items. Not that we have to take action on 1, 2, 3, whatever.
I do like the idea of starting scratch, terminating this agreement, and then going forward with a new agreement instead of it. I don't know.
Because you don't have any idea where their mind is or someone else or...
Well, you also establish a habit of that. Just go back and ask him 2 years from now. But I also, I appreciate the time to move on. I appreciate what they're trying to do. And we have a great community.
Yeah, let's keep doing it. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they have a solid plan moving forward.
Because that was the intent, was a bit of community. We're sure years out of the fact.
Okay, because the board at that time, we just didn't want to, like it is, drag out forever, right? Like,
This is what we did not want to do.
it's $100,000 property, and nothing happens.
Would you say where we are? How many thousand?
I'm a little like, my biggest concern is the liability. If we need to expand our insurance coverage, that's the money.
That's a pretty good chunk of money. Okay, section 5 is personnel. Proposed executive session to discuss resignations, hiring personnel, and organization assignments pursuant to 25 OS Section 307B1 and 7 of the open meeting law. Items to be discussed are resignations, Megan Bam, Brady Spain, and Stella Thurman. Hiring Oologah-Talala summer school teachers, Oologah upper elementary summer school teachers for summer 2025, Oologah middle school summer school teachers, Oologah high school summer school teachers for summer 2025. Director of campus operations. Yes, white teachers for June and July of 2025, Oologah elementary principal and teacher on a temporary contract. Rehiring for the 2025-2026 school year. Teachers on temporary contract listed in Exhibit A. Teachers listed on Exhibit B. Paraprofessional secretaries, custodians, and maintenance employees listed on Exhibit C. Action duty contract for Megan Haney. Secretarial duties and Dwight Tackett, assistant junior high baseball. Will entertain a motion to go to executive session.
Move to enter executive session.
Vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We are. My forehead.
return to open session. Item D is statement of board president, executive session minutes compliance. While we're in executive session, while Blakely, Lauren Stopper, West Jordan, Brett Kellogg, Joe Coster, we're joined by Dr. David Wilkins, superintendent, assistant superintendent, to act on the decisions made and there are no votes taken. Item E is vote to accept or not accept submitted resignations as listed below. Say her name, please. John Stanton. Speech language pathologist, effective May 23rd, 2025. Megan Bam, speech language pathologist, effective May 23rd, 2025. Reading the same, director of operations, effective June 2nd, 2025. To a third professional, effective April 7th, 2025. With entertain action on item E.
I'm going to accept submitted resignations as listed below. Have to list them all.
Second. Vote please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Item E is approved. Item F, motion to vote to employ or not re-employ the following certified and support personnel for 2025-2026 school year. Teacher on a temporary contract, which is listed in Exhibit A. Teachers listed on Exhibit B. And support personnel, paraprofessional, secretaries, custodians, maintenance that are listed on Exhibit C.
Move to reemploy the following certified and support personnel listed on Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and Exhibit C.
Second.
Vote please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Item F is approved. Item G, motion to vote to employ or not employ recommended applicants for positions as listed below. For the Oologah Elementary Summer School teachers, Dr. Wilkins, your recommendation?
We need to
Do them all together?
Yeah.
Okay. Then for Oologah Upper Elementary Summer School teachers, Oologah Middle School Summer School teachers, Oologah High School Summer School teachers for summer 2024, Director of Campus Operations, extended school year teacher for the June 2025 to July 2025, extended school year paraprofessionals for June 25 to and July 2025, Oologah Elementary principal, and agriculture teacher on a temporary contract for 2025-2026 school year.
Yes, so recommendation for OLE Summer School would be Kathy Wheeler, Stephanie Barnes, Brittany Smith. OMS Summer School teachers would be Sean Driver, Vicki Baker, Tracy Ruart. Upper Elementary Summer School teachers would be Laura Jones, Cassie Taylor, Aaron Mingo, and Jordan Lowe. High School Summer School teachers, Amanda Salt, Donna Conley, and Layla Deffenbaugh. Director of Campus Operations would be Dwight Tackett. Extended school year teacher, Kara Nance. Extended school year paraprofessional would be Rebecca Jeffries. Lower elementary principal would be Scott Doss, and ag teacher on temporary contract would be Gracie Norris. That's my recommendation.
Entertain action on item G. Do those need to be read according to record, or can you do a motion based on
Not just stated by what you,
Yeah, I think you can say state.
I moved to employ as stated by Dr. Wilkins.
or do you guys, take a second with that? Anybody, you guys are okay with that informal motion? Okay. Vote please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Item G is approved. Item H, motion to vote to approve or not approve extra duty assignment contracts listed below. Rebecca Haney, additional admin assistant duties for the high school office, and Dwight Tackett, assistant junior high baseball coach.
Ms. Haney's picked up a lot of work at the high school because the secretary's out. She's worked a ton of hours helping them out. And then Dwight Tackett, we had just left him off. He's doing assistant baseball coach, and we just left him off the list originally. I'm not sure what happened, so we'll cut that.
Entertain action on item H.
I move that we approve the extra duty assignments and contracts as listed below for Rebecca Haney, additional admin assistant duties for high school office, Dwight Tackett, assistant junior high baseball coach.
So, vote please.
Yes.
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 Item H approved. I would entertain motion and vote to adjourn. Here we go. Hey, she's not free tonight.